The scent of damp cedar and ancient stone filled the air as Fen led the 62 wolves deeper into the Mist Vale ravines. This was a place where the map of the Jade Empire grew fuzzy, a region of shifting fog and treacherous cliffs that even the Hawk scouts avoided for fear of the unpredictable updrafts. Fen stopped at the edge of a high ridge. Behind him, his people were exhausted. Elders leaned on younger wolves. Mothers carried pups wrapped in scavenged silk. They had survived the mines and the outskirts, but they were homeless. The heavenly ledger unfurled in Fen's mind, its light cutting through the natural fog. Scanning environment. Location detected. The hidden basin of the White Plum. Chi density, high, pure. Strategic value, excellent. Naturally defensible, hidden by the breath of the earth, geothermal mists. Mandate, a pack is not just a group, it is a territory. Establish the den. There, Fen said, pointing his hand, now calloused and steady, toward a valley floor below. As the mist parted, they saw it. A lush, bowl-shaped valley, fed by a waterfall that cascaded down the mountain like a silver ribbon. Ancient plum trees, their blossoms a pale, ghostly white, dotted the landscape. It was a place untouched by the soot of the mines or the defacement of the empire. "It's beautiful," Yuna whispered, stepping up beside him. She looked at Fen, noting the way the moonlight seemed to cling to his silver fur. "It looks like the stories of the Old North." "It's not just a home, Yuna," Fen said, his eyes scanning the perimeter. "It's a fortress. We start building today." The work began immediately. Fen didn't just give orders. He was the first to haul the heavy timber and the first to scout the perimeter. Using the waxing moon style, he could move fallen logs that would have taken 4 men to lift. The ledger provided blueprints of the ancestors, guiding them to build structures that were not just shelters, but conduits for chi. Mina led Fen's group to a hidden encampment deep within a ravine. It was a miserable sight, 20 more wolves huddled around a smokeless fire. This was the reality of the fallen race. Those who weren't enslaved were hunted like vermin. That night, while the pack rested, Fen sat with Kael by the edge of the ravine. The old wolf was staring at his scarred hands. "You asked me once why I told you to keep your head down," Kael said, his voice gravelly. "It wasn't because I'm a coward, Fen. It's because I remember the Great Purge." Kael's story unfolded like a dark tapestry. Years ago, before Fen woke up in the bone pit, the wolves were the guardians of the northern borders. They were a proud race of warriors and scholars, bound by the primordial pact to maintain the balance between the animal races. Lord Shen didn't just want power, Kael spat, mentioning the Serpent and Bale, who had orchestrated their downfall. He wanted the ledger. He believed that by breaking the pact, he could rewrite the laws of Chi and live forever. He burned our libraries, slaughtered our elders, and turned our brothers against each other. Kael pointed to the notch in his ear. "I was a captain in the Silver Guard. I watched my commander surrender to save the pups, only to see Shen execute him on the steps of the Azure Temple anyway. After that, I stopped being a soldier. I just became a number." Fen listened, his heart heavy. The ledger pulsed as Kael spoke, recording the history it had lost. Lore entry updated: the fall of the Silver Guard. New skill potential: Vanguard's resolve. Requirement: honor the memory of the fallen. "I don't remember the Purge," Fen admitted, "but the ledger shows me things. It shows me a world where we weren't in chains." "That world is gone," Kael sighed, "unless you really are the one the scroll chose." But being a leader isn't just about winning fights, kid. It's about carrying the weight of every soul you've liberated. The next morning, Yuna approached Fen while he was practicing the crescent step amidst the morning mist. She looked troubled. Mina says there are more groups like theirs hiding in the outskirts, Yuna said. But there's a sickness spreading among them. Stone lung from the dust of the mines. It's slow, but it's lethal. Yuna explained her own past. She was a descendant of the Northern Star Healers, a tribe that specialized in spirit chi medicine. When the Empire invaded, her people were the first to be targeted because their arts could counteract the Serpent Bureaucracy's poisons. "I need ingredients to treat them, Fen," she said, her amber eyes urgent. "There is a rare herb called the Moon Glow Lily. It only grows in places touched by pure chi. The ledger? Can it find it?" Fen closed his eyes, focusing on the scroll. Subquest, the Healer's Mercy. Target, Moon Glow Lily. Location, the Azure Wolf Temple ruins, 3 leagues north. Warning, territory is guarded by the Golden Claw Garrison, Tiger and Bells. "It's at the Azure Temple," Fen said, his jaw tightening. "The same place where the Ledger wants me to take the first trial." "The Tigers are Shen's enforcers," Yuna warned. "They are stronger, faster, and they have no mercy for vermin." "We don't have a choice," Fen replied. "If we don't heal them, we aren't a pack. We're just a group of dying refugees." Fen spent the day training the able-bodied wolves. He couldn't give them the ledger, but he could share the basics of the Shattered Moon-style breathing. He taught them how to move in silence, how to use their environment as a weapon. For the first time, the broken wolves began to look like warriors again. The journey toward the Azure Wolf Temple was a lesson in the political world-building of the Jade Empire. They passed through tribute villages, where sheep and rabbit and bells worked the fields under the watchful eyes of hawk scouts. "See how they live?" Mina whispered, as they peered from the brush at a village. "Even the favored races are just tools for the serpents. They pay 80% of their harvest in taxes. If they fail, they end up in the mines like us." As they neared the temple, the air grew colder. The architecture changed. Shattered white marble stairs began to appear, peeking through the overgrown vines. This was holy ground for the wolf race, now a ruin. Area entered, the Azure Wolf Temple. Environmental effect, ancestral resonance. Wolf and bells gain plus 10% chi regeneration. Threat level, high. They saw the garrison, a small fortress built right over the temple's entrance. Tiger and bells, massive and clad in ornate gold and black armor, patrolled the walls. Their leader was a scarred general with a missing eye, wielding a massive guandao that hummed with a fierce orange chi. "That's General Bale," Kael whispered, his fur standing on end. "He was the butcher of the north. He personally oversaw the destruction of this temple." Fen looked at the ledger. It was pulsing with a violent, rhythmic light. Trial 1, the Azure Moon, objective. Retrieve the Moon Glow Lily and the Azure Wolf Tooth. Condition, defeat General Bale. Reward, unlock, Volume 2, Waxing Moon Style. The attack began at midnight. Fen used the lunar veil to mask the movement of a small strike team, himself, Kael, and Mina. While Yuna and the others created a diversion with fire arrows on the opposite side of the garrison, Fen's team scaled the rear wall. The combat was swift and brutal. Fen moved like a blur of silver, his lunar fang strikes disabling the tiger guards before they could sound the alarm. "Intruders!" a voice roared, shaking the very stones of the temple. General Bale emerged from the central pavilion, his guandao spinning in a deadly arc of orange flame. I smelled the stench of wet fur the moment you crossed the perimeter. You wolves never learn when to stay dead. Bale lunged, the heavy weapon smashing into the ground where Fen had been standing a millisecond prior. The shockwave threw Kael back, but Fen stayed grounded, his feet sliding in a perfect crescent step. Combat log, Fen versus General Bale. Enemy Chi, Solar Flame, violent/destructive. Advice: do not clash head-on. The moon reflects, it does not burn. Fen realized the ledger's advice was the key. He stopped trying to overpower the tiger. Instead, he began to move in a circular pattern, his silver chi forming a shimmering barrier around him. Every time Bale struck, Fen redirected the force, letting the orange flames wash harmlessly over his lunar veil. "Stop dancing, coward!" Bale screamed, his attacks becoming wilder and more desperate. "I am not dancing," Fen said, his voice calm. "I am reclaiming what you stole." Fen saw his opening. As Bale overextended with a massive overhead strike, Fen stepped into the tiger's guard. His hand didn't form a claw. It formed a palm strike, glowing with the concentrated essence of the Azure Temple's resonance. Shattered moon. Full eclipse. The strike landed squarely on Bale's chest plate. There was no explosion, only a silent ripple of silver light. The Tiger General froze, his orange chi extinguished like a candle in a gale. He collapsed, his armor shattering into 1,000 pieces of gold. Fen didn't kill him. He looked down at the defeated general with a cold, detached pity. "The North remembers, General, and it is coming back." Fen moved to the altar behind the pavilion. There, glowing in a patch of moonlight, were the moon glow lilies. Beside them lay a relic of ancient power, a dagger carved from the tooth of a giant wolf, pulsing with a deep blue light, the Azure Wolf Tooth. As Fen grasped the tooth, a surge of memories hit him, not his own, but the collective memories of his race. He saw the first beast, the signing of the pact, and the promise that the wolves would always return when the world grew dark. The ledger flared a triumphant gold. Trial 1. Complete reward, waxing moon style, unlocked. New title, Alpha of the Remnant. Current pack size, 62.